What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining for another fantastic live stream. We're going to be doing this basically reacting to what kind of we saw come out today. Got a lot of questions on folks are saying, is this the top? Is this the top? Are we going to be going lower or whatever reasons? A lot of companies have great earnings, but they're not going anywhere. So yeah, we're just going to be diving into quite a few of different various things today, without a doubt. Anyone out there can give me a thumbs up to see on how see the point of sound control going okay and everything. That'd be fantastic. What's up? Easy now. You don't have to say killed earnings and went down. So I'm guessing you bought calls then. So with the amount of earnings on that, with especially on calls, that's looking forth the overall understanding of, let's see how that overall plays out. Again, earnings have run up so substantially on a lot of the tech sections and things like that have just really just got, I think the evaluations, like we kind of saw with Tesla and Netflix, they ran up so much. They moved so great even before the earnings came out, and that's usually not a tall tale sign, but a sign of a potential, like, hey, maybe we should pump the brakes here a little bit. Earnings, again, not many companies are giving guidance going forward, so just be mindful of that. We can see on how that plays out. Let's just double checking everything. Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down on the sound here? That would be great, everyone. Let me just double checking everything here. I'm pulling up some potential looking things here. Let's see here. I'm sorry. Make sure I got everything up and right. Everyone doing well. Thank you for so many folks coming out. I really do appreciate it. We got to get things up here. Ryan, always got to say the puts on Biden. Thumbs up. Thank you, Alpaca. Makeshift, thank you for showing up. Cube, Luis, thank you. All right, guys, let's go ahead. I was kind of just doing some generic research on a couple things before we got the live stream going. What I normally do is just peruse different various charts or kind of see if there's anything going on, things like that. Kangaroos for sure, Ryan. So with kangaroos, you should be able to see the main screen right now. So I'm looking here at the S&P 500, the overall market here. Again, this is on a monthly chart to kind of overall do like a super zoomed out view of what's going on in the market and where did we come from, how are things looking, different various aspects of just seeing how things are going, or things are being frothy up, things like that. We'll see how that overall plays out. So again, I'm going to try to get this stuff away because it just kind of makes more sense. So again, full perspective, we're looking here on the S&P 500, aka this is the futures market, so /ES. And this has been looking at literally, I think, the last 20 years, I believe. So 20 years of the market, and each of these little candles are 1 month. So that's a lot of time here. Again, I've only been really trading in stocks right before this bubble here. So this is not even half of my trading experience. So it's been definitely a ride for sure. But you can really see the trend that we've really seen here. It's just been going up here substantially with that overall momentum just continue to grind higher and seeing the overall market just carry itself higher. Again, we don't know when the bottom comes or anything like that, so I don't want to be the folks that are just yell out these contrarian bets and things like that. So just be mindful of that. That being said, we can kind of see here compared to some of the blimps that you might have seen the past couple months. So the blimp we saw, of course, with the pandemic was in February. You kind of saw that movement come up. We did tap that 21, but we accelerated quite through it. So normally we just kind of stay on that 21 EMA on the yellow line and just continue to ride things out. So we're nowhere kind of near it. Yes, things could happen overnight and bad things can happen and we can come flashing down. But again, the last market that we just had with that February, the virus basically at the end of February into March really took us down so fast out of nowhere that usually really doesn't happen that often. There's usually some tall tale signs. So if you look here back in 0809, if you're not familiar with it, that was a financial crisis with a lot of the headwinds of Lehman Brothers and mortgage. Everyone was buying 2 or 3 houses with low mortgage rates and now no due diligence on the mortgage broker sides and all this different various stuff that just wasn't really good practices and regulated, honestly. So with that one, we saw, again, on the monthly chart, we saw the early breaks. We saw early breaks. It was a very slow bleed. So we really broke through the 21. That was a sign that we just weren't able to get it back above the 21. So this is why I just tie into a lot of my technical analysis around the 21 EMA on multiple time frames. The 21 EMA is basically a reversion to the meme strategy that plays out in all charts. It's usually things that fluctuate and they always kind of come back to the center point. So this kind of, again, came back to the center point. Of course, there was a lot of bad news, but if you were technical knowledge of things like that, you could see that, hey, the S&P 500 is super lagging. There is no sign of it trying to break out here at all. The 21's failing. You'd just basically be sitting on your hands on cash, or if you wanted to be a little bit more directional, you'd be potentially just hedging your positions, buying fixed calls, buying SPY puts or QQ puts and things like that. And of course, that was the huge tear down there that really just took the last huge effort lower, and it just really just came crashing down. And that's when the S really hit the F. So and it really just took everything crashing down. So again, that's a little history lesson there. That as of right now, we're not seeing that pattern. Like we saw this previously in a couple other downturns again. So this was the December of 18 downturn that we saw, basically where folks were getting a little freaked out due to a lot of the particular raising of interest rates due to Powell just being aggressive on that path. That was quickly corrected again. Great buying opportunity. You can see here a lot of buying opportunity basically here around the 50-day on the monthly chart. So be mindful. Just keep those little mindsets in your back of your head. That being said, I just wanted to kind of discuss that and kind of give more people somewhat of the better perspective of like, hey, we are getting near all-time highs. Normally, when we try to get to all-time highs, we could get a slight pullback. That doesn't mean a crash. We can get a pullback to a certain level, because you just don't continue to make a new time high. Because you can see here, there was other economic macro stuff going on here, but there was issues of like, hey, we kind of broke it, then we pulled back, didn't break it again, and then now we broke it. Like, we could be in a range for a little bit. So like Ryan said, it could be the kangaroo market. So just be mindful of that. Now let's go ahead and go back to somewhat of a more looking at a time frame on the daily side. As of right now, we are looking at, again, still holding that 21 EMA. Parabolic SAR still going higher on the overall markets. We'll see how this plays out. I'm going to be a little bit skeptical. As Ryan says, I'll be somewhat of a closet bear. He took the words right out of my mouth. That I believe that we're not just going to come crushing through this. We're going to probably potentially hit some resistance here at the previous high in the S&P 500. So just be mindful of that. Just be very careful, though. So I don't want everyone just to be straight long calls. You kind of, if you want to run a proper portfolio, you should have 5% of gold and things like that. Knock Tesla down 10%. Knock Tesla it would be great if it goes down. Kelly, thank you for showing up, my friend. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some tickers for you folks, and we'll start having some fun with that. If you guys have any tickers, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We can start looking through that. A couple of the ones that kind of came out for earnings today was basically we had Roku. They, of course, we did overall look at of like, hey, it did have a pretty large run up into earnings, which I'm always somewhat fearful about because that's usually something like, oh snap, it's I would rather have liked it see kind of just hold that 51, 52 price target and then run up to that $57 where we're currently at, but not this movement whale overextending here and then kind of the folks buying longer calls or trying to place a bet and thinking it's going to go to 200, they're going to get crushed. So be very careful with that. Coming in tomorrow and then the near term for Roku, we talked about some potential analysis here. That 151 price target is going to be very key component for that downward movement if it does decide to come down. We're really looking here at again 157 and the after hours trading. We'll see how that opens up in the market and we'll just go from there. Potential upside is 176. So these are just the guidelines that we're looking at. So we can kind of do another thing that we do so here sometimes of potentially seeing again. It can come to the 157-ish price target. It's basically around between the 5 and 8 EMA on the daily side. So we could just be trading here sideways for a little bit because Roku is known to just kind of trade up sideways, trade up sideways. So we could potentially just trade sideways at this moment for a little bit until it kind of regains its momentum and we can go higher. DBX earnings tomorrow. Is that Dropbox? Yeah, so DBX is basically, Ryan, in this overall range-bound stock, basically, with earnings. You said tomorrow morning or after the bell? Oh, after the market. Okay. So after the market, unless it gets leaked, tomorrow morning and someone fat fingers it. This looks really interesting, but again, it's in that box. So if earnings come out and it's fantastic, we need to break above that $23.50 level basically and start trying to break up to the $24 price target. What is the overall move for this week? It's $2.30. $2.30 that can easily break it to $24, but it has kind of made a slight run, but it has been consolidating kind of a lagger behind other stocks that I think that would be doing very well in this kind of time, especially at the work from home environment. But my thoughts in the market don't always correlate, and they don't honestly give a you-know-what about my thoughts. So this being said, that $23.50 is basically that trading range that we're currently seeing here. So to the downside, we're really looking for support basically at the 200 EMA around $20. So be mindful, you're going to be trading in a pretty tight term. Really looking for the downside first level of support basically around 22 to 20, 22, 30 to like $22 to the downside. Again, they're only saying a move of basically a little over $2, so that could really just not go too far from here. Potentially could just be continuing trading sideways. We really need to see it break either direction out of this box here, Ryan, to kind of see the next move. On the weekly side, I think this has been, this is kind of hasn't been the world's greatest performer, honestly. Just been kind of really beaten up here on the weekly side. I'm not sure how long dated you are on this stock, but you can really see here that 21 basically lines up with that $21 price target here at the 23.6 percentile move. So this is basically a very strong level if you're a little bit longer term in it, right? Makeshift, yeah, we can look at Fastly. Let me pause up and make sure I got everything. There we go. FSLY, right? So Fastly, another company that reported tonight, fairly strong quarter, but I think it just, again, got really far ahead of itself. You can just see that movement that we've just seen here. Huge candles up, huge movement up. Again, going a little bit too far out of its expectations, and just folks really just, I think, getting too hyped up on it potentially. That being said, currently trading around $93 in after-hours trading. $93 is a pretty significant amount, so we can kind of zoom here, and I don't like to always go to the 4-hour chart, but we can go in the 4-hour chart a little bit to kind of give you a better breakdown that kind of goes into the after-hours trading. Basically looking to hold the 92.36 price target. That's basically the 618 from the previous swing high to low. If this doesn't hold, we're going to be looking for the 50% retracement, which is around the $89 price target. If this holds for the next, between this target and 97, that is basically, could be building a base, and then and depending on which way it breaks above the 97 or below the 92, we can be going to 102.95, or we can go back down to the 89.09 there. So hopefully that was helpful for you there, Makeshift. WDC, yes, WDC, they had earnings as well, right? That's Western Digital, right? Yeah, nothing too hot here at all sort of report. This one was kind of just really underperforming of the overall market. You can kind of see here on the 200 EMA here. On the daily side, it just hasn't been able to get above this particular line. It's just really just sinking underneath the water. Looking for that, basically trading on $39 in after-hours trading. This is just signaling potentially coming to 37 for that first initial support here, downside support that I'm seeing here. The 39 basically was some previous lows that we've seen here. Basically, again, we saw this bottom here 3 times. It could be 1, 2, 3, and then we break the 37.97. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow and how the overall market can take it. On the longer term side, it's just kind of been slightly just consolidating, just kind of trending lower. It kind of had somewhat of a fight back here, but it never really got above the 200 on the overall on the weekly side, so just been very down performing. It looks like it really wants to break out higher, but that quarter really just shifted it quite lower there. NVIDIA, yeah, we look at NVIDIA. So this is the complete opposite of a downward trend. This is an upward trend. On the daily side, you can clearly see this chart is just it's a beauty. It's like an Enzo Ferrari kind of chart, in the sense of just really holding that 21 EMA and just continue riding it up. If it touched that 21, just buy the dip, right? That's what they say. That being said, we're hitting an all-time high today. Are we overextended? I don't like to use that word, but it also has earnings coming up on the 19th of August, so we're a little bit like 2 weeks away from that. That being said, be super mindful that we could have, again, that earnings run going into earnings, but then earnings expectation doesn't meet basically the 10 or 15% run up that we had in 2 weeks time frame. So just be super mindful of that, and being to use the psychology of how some people trade. Of like, people are like, oh, if it was continue going higher, it should blow out the numbers. There is some fundamental terminology that they need to meet by. There's a certain amount of physics that they have to rules they have to abide by. Stocks, yeah, they can continue straight up, but they'll have to slow down sometime. So with this one, this is not really too overextended at all. Everything is looking fairly strong here. It's going to be very difficult one to buy here at this level. But that being said, the level to buy it and to potentially add to the position is around 416, 417. So basically where the 21 EMA lies on the daily chart if you're looking for the short to intermediate term trading there. Luke W, MU, Yeah, MU is something that we've been trading, kind of holding it and been in a pattern, similar to the Dropbox that we just talked about. It's it's above the 200-day, which is great, but it's been in this really tough box like AMD was. I don't know if everyone remembers that. It was kind of like the redheaded stepchild of just not really performing well with the market and seeing everyone else outperform and everything like that. This one is just really holding that $50 price target here. And it's just as long as it stays within in this range around the $50 target, we could see this can just continue to consolidate. On the charts, it's screaming to break out. Honestly, it really is on the charting method. But earnings is a question mark for all the way in September. This being said, it looks like it's down just a hair. Again, like you said, probably due to Western Digital bringing it down. But this trend is still somewhat intact. I would be getting out or cutting some of my position if it starts breaking below like the $48 to $47 price target there. To the upside, we're really looking for a pretty large move if it can get up and running to around $56 to $57 to the upside would be initial first profits, and then really be looking for getting to that $60 price target as well. Would you be touching precious metals despite being at all-time highs or close to that? So I've been trading gold. I've been trading gold in the mornings. Usually buy it around 5:30ish, sometimes 6, and it kind of sees how it plays out once other traders are waking up around 6 to 7. You get some movement and get out of it, and just for a quick scalp, honestly. It's hard for me to hold that kind of stuff, especially. I could be buying GLD, but I think it's a little too fast for me right now, and I wasn't able to get into the trade when I wanted it, so I'll just be scalping it for long or short positions. Alpaca, ARQ, is that the Kathy Wood stuff? Yeah, this is a great looking chart. This is actually be perfect for a fib here. I bet you this is going to be well past the 1618. Oh, look at that. So it's basically at the 1618. Basically, I just called it. It's really knocking on the door here. So this is actually a pretty powerful move here, Alpaca. Really, the only thing is when it hits the 1618, there's not really much left to really to go. The next overhead market we'll be looking at around 72 on the Fibonacci retracements, so it's a little bit difficult to look at from that previous swing high to previous swing low. But what we can do as well is actually do another fib from the other low to high here, and look at that. You're hitting the 2618 from here at $54, and again that next price target would be around 62 for the upside. To the downside, it's really going to be the chart is basically just tells the story itself. Basically the 21, so 52.37 is going to be your downside support for level 1, and then really strong support basically coming around $50 to $48 between the 34 and 50 moving averages there. But yeah, everything looks fairly strong here without a doubt. RSI and volume. The weekly side looks super strong, of course, because they've got a lot more airtime, and her bet on the Tesla stuff really just skyrocketed the fun without a doubt. Dennis, we can do AMD. Of course, AMD, that son of a gun hit an all-time high again today. Again, looking for the initial price targets around $95. That's, again, pretty far off, but anything can happen. We don't have a crystal ball here, so just be mindful that these are just guidelines. These are not set in stone. Looking for, again, this movement has been going off pretty tremendously, multiple gap up days. I don't have to tell you that. Really just waiting for a potential buying opportunity, unless you want to be super aggressive. You'd be potentially buying around $77. But if this can come back a little bit, again, $77, $76 is somewhat of a little bit more aggressive for where I would be trading it. If I wasn't in it, would be waiting for a little bit lower to around the 21 EMA there for that going support there for AMD to the downside. Yep, we can do Apple, Dennis, and Alpaca. Of course, everyone's getting excited for the free ice cream that they're giving out. The free money they're giving out at the end of the month. Looking at the the overall, I'm sorry, I made myself laugh. Basically, my throat's super dry today. The previous swing high to low, we're looking at that. Basically, the overhead site of, what is that? The 470 basically price target. The 470 price target to the downside. We're kind of seeing this they call it an arc pattern or whatever you want to put a title on it, where it's kind of had multiple gap ups, like multiple large gap ups. This was literally a 10% move after its earnings. And it just gapped up large into the on Friday and then into the weekend, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now it's kind of, I wouldn't say stalling. I don't use the word stalling because we're not in a Cessna, but we're kind of slowing down here, taking a break, looking for some potential consolidation here. Potentially can come down easily to the 426 to the downside again. But we're really attracted to that 469 up there, or the 470. Is that going to happen by the time of the end of the split? I don't know. Anything can happen, but these are just what the guidelines and then the trading gods have provided to us. I wonder how Virgin Atlantic bankruptcy will affect space. I know. I saw that too. That's sad. I flew Virgin Atlantic for a honeymoon. It was a beautiful airline. Alright. Okay, sorry. A lot of folks have just joined and we're looking at a lot of things in my lovely chat thing. Just this again. Let's get Ken the check mark. What's the check mark? Ice cream, yes. You didn't know each time a stock does a split, they're going to give out banana splits. That was a joke. We're going to have a banana split party on the end of August. If everyone should get a nice banana split, and then we'll just have a lot of fun. Yeah, that's super nice of them. Yeah, dividends is basically free stock, right, Ryan? I don't think makeshift players. So SpaceX, I think Elon has been pretty active on he does not want to take it public because of the amount of issues that they saw with dealing with Tesla. He's like, I don't want to deal with that again. It was just too much stress. Alpaca love eating event. You gotta enjoy life, man. You gotta have that nice stuff. Make a nice banana split. You get a strawberry scoop of ice cream, vanilla, and chocolate, and then some chocolate sauce. And so with Tesla, let's look at Tesla real fast as well. So we're just speaking of SpaceX, get me all excited up. With Tesla, we're really looking for this to hold the 21 EMA, but if it wants to pull back more, I'm not gonna try to stop it. We can let it pull back. I'm a true believer in this overall longer term position, without a doubt, rather than the Nikola company or Nike, whatever, even NIO. I was reading that NIO had a bunch of battery issues or something. I don't want to get into it. So with Tesla, if we start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, potentially the stop at the 21 first of all, and then level 2 is going to be around 1350 for downward surge support. But with this one, if it wants to go down, it's going to go down like a really fast. So be super mindful of that with Tesla. Super volatile. We do have some key dates still waiting to come out. It's basically their investor day, but they're going to do like some kind of like a battery and new showcase, some things like that. We'll see how that when that comes out. There are speculations of coming out in September, and then it's October. I heard December. Then I think it was something from Onion News or something like that, where they were going to have it exactly when Nicola World was having to kind of show XYZ off. But yeah. Let's go look at space. Yeah, we can look at space. So this one did kind of take a poopies. That's the PG word. So the previous swing high to low, we talked about this. Even, again, just like Nikola, they don't really make anything quite yet. They have products, they have things, but the revenue's not there quite yet. So that being said, really just kind of took a tank here after earnings. The 34 is kind of coming here for some support. Basically, if this doesn't hold and the 5 and 8 start crossing aggressively through the 21, we could see some downside to around the $17 price target, which we've been there, done that before around that range. So be super mindful of that we could just be coming back down to this range and kind of just trading sideways. But it was, again, they got the hype train going with some great videos, great stuff. But it just overall, it just wasn't able to perform again. That movement was just too much pre-earnings. That's what a lot of the stocks, that was kind of basically the thing that I have to constantly put on repeat of this. Like, hey, I'm always super skeptical when the stock runs up so much into earnings. I thought it could consolidate a little bit more. If it did consolidate basically here around the 21, we would just be basically flat, slightly up, and then potentially testing the 25. If something tries to test these significant moving average, the significant fib numbers pre-earnings, I'm a little always skeptical. So that's why I always say, like, hey guys, take a second look. This could be some issues coming forth. Shock the shareholders for some reason with no revenue. Yeah. Space a dead cat bounce, Ryan? For a dead cat bounce, it could be... For a dead cat bounce, it would need to bounce here on the 34, kind of come up to the 21, and then come back down again. That could be a dead cat bounce, yeah. But we have to kind of... that's just more like this. We have to kind of wait to see how the price action happens from that. JT, hey Ken, I have a quick question. Before market close, I bought a quick FSLY August 7th 880 put. Given its earning outcome, I feel like this is going to be advantage, and not sure how about exiting the theta for this position. Yeah, we'll take a quick look for you, my friend. What was the stock again? Oh, FSLY. So the trade tab. Oh, why I spelled that wrong? Is it SY? There we go. Thought I wrote it. So you bought it for this Friday. What is it? You bought the $80 put. So for 25 cents. So with theta implied on it, again, theta is really going to kick in because, again, it would have had a super high IV, really high expected move. The thing is you literally have to sell it, JT, if you want to get out of it for potential profit, really fast. Unless you think that it's going to continue bleeding lower, then you can hold it or try to roll it to a later date. But this is going to be a very difficult one to kind of gauge, to kind of understand, potentially look at the theoretical price of this. We can kind of look at the theoretical price here. If we said it's going to be tomorrow, it's going to be hard to kind of see if it went down. What is it down at right now? Was at 108, so it went to, what is that, like 17, 18, minus, sorry. Well, it's out of the expected move then. So it's out of $15. So it was right around $15. So we'll just say negative $15. The adjusted volatility is still going to be high. So I think we're just going to leave it at like 80, maybe. See what that does. Potentially, this is going to be aggressive, but that put could be worth $5. Could be. This is not the world's. This is very janky on how to calculate this, JT. So you could potentially put an order in, hopefully a limit order around, I don't know, $4.75, $5 potentially. If that's not filled right at the open, right when the options market open, you need to start drilling that lower, because that theta decay is really going to start kicking in on that price. So we'll see how that plays out from that. So be super mindful. Let me know how that plays out and if those numbers were any or accurate. Because again, the move was $15.92, and we are down more than that. So let's go here, go to the 4-hour chart. So we're basically so it opened up at 1.7. Holy moly. 93. It really just tanked. Was that? I always have the 4-hour chart. Let me go 30-minute chart. Okay, so it tanked. Let me do this. Basically, $15. So it's literally, your put's going to be at the money. So you would need to get out of it as quick as possible, because you're gonna the ask and the bid's got to go pretty crazy, especially for a large downside move like this. So great trade. You're definitely super risky, but it paid off, JT. So nice. Hopefully that was helpful as well, and for everyone else. How do you like the squeeze indicator? I love it. Let me reset all this stuff. And I should have saved. I didn't. Dang it. I need to add the other thing back, but that's fine. We'll do that after the video. I saw something asked for Tony. What's up, Tony? TSM. Yeah, we look at TSM. That's been going gangbusters. But JT, just be fully disclosed on that. Those are just theoretical prices. You can't. It's very hard to predict those prices because, again, volatility can go higher or lower tomorrow. So I kind of played it a little bit on the extreme end than that. So that being said, so let's look at Tony Montana. God bless you. Basically, we want to talk about TSM. TSM, again, I don't want to talk about too much of it. I missed that move. But anyways, kind of similar to AMD, had that multiple gap up. Now it's kind of consolidating here in a slightly trading pattern. Really looking forward to potentially just kind of trade sideways here. Again, hitting an all-time high today. That initial price target to the next upside resistance is going to basically come in around $88.41. That being said, be mindful that we could potentially see that price come in. We're not super far away from the moving averages, but could be consolidating here potentially, and just kind of waiting for these moving averages to kind of catch up. What's up, Plato? Thanks for coming, my friend. So TSM basically looking for, again, momentum still strong. RSI and volume zone oscillator looking great, but with this whole move, really needs some consolidation, taking a break, and just waiting for it to play out. Yeah, Ryan, that IPO, I looked at it. Like you said, it's similar to like a Shopify. Like you said, you made some money on it today. It really did skyrocket. Basically up 200%. I think what was the initial price offer, like $20 or something like that, $19, and it just went through the roof. So again, it's as one day of trading, so there's not really much I can give you. With these IPOs, it usually just shoots up and then consolidates a little bit, and then if it wants to continue some FOMO trading, then it can kind of come in. But this is not really my wheelhouse to trade these kind of plays like this, so I'm going to have to take a pass on that. Sorry, Ryan. Do you have any videos about how to calculate contract? No, I don't. There's a lot of other YouTubers, smarter YouTubers in the options market have already kind of made those videos. It's very hard to calculate. Again, you're trying to calculate something in the future, and I don't have a crystal ball to calculate that, so I only can do predictions, and I really don't like predictions. I just kind of have some guidelines, so that's kind of gave you a guideline of that options could be potentially worth $4 to $5 tomorrow, potentially more if the stock continues going down. But that's going to be right at the market open of that day. Oh, was it 24? Wow. Play-Doh, we did talk about MU, but we can do MU real fast. So MU is basically in the same pattern like AMD was, just super consolidating here, kind of trading around the $50 price target here. To the upside, it needs to break above $54. To the downside, if it starts breaking below 48, we need to start trimming positions or potentially getting out if it starts getting down to $47 to $48. And just really just waiting to kind of play this out. So for my play, I have a couple, I think it was like 55 and 65 calls out for next year. Tony, you're welcome, my friend. Shane. Tilray's greater than Nikola. Did Tilray make a move or something like that? Are they going higher? I used to trade Tilray. That's a heck of a base here, though. It wants to do something. If it's higher or lower, but it's building a base here, boys and girls. Miles, my CWH is... I'm guessing you bought long calls then. Oh. In Camping World. Again, the sad thing is it was great stuff, but it just wasn't able to perform due to the fact of, hey, it had too much of a run up here into earnings and this kind of, hey, super strong quarter, made a lot of money, but I think it was, again, got ahead of itself. This is somewhat of a good thing. It's kind of consolidating around that 78.6. Really looking for that $38.16 to hold. So if this can create a nice holding pattern, potentially around the $38 range, and just build a super strong base and get that momentum going and get up to 47, that could be in the cards. As well as if things kind of go negative and then some people are like, hey, I'm done with Camping World and I want to go into Swimming World or whatever, I don't know, a competitor to Camping World is, and then it can go down to $30. But these are just the guidelines that we need to be looking at. The overall trend is still intact again, where if it comes down to $38, it's basically the 8 EMA on the daily side, and that trend is still going higher. It hasn't broken below the 35, which is going to be the short to intermediate term trend here that we've been seeing for the last couple months since the pandemic. So just be super mindful of that and be very careful on how if you exit out of that, my friend Miles. Cube gift. Yes, we can look at Etsy. Love me some Etsy too. So with Etsy, again, like I just feel like I'm a record on repeat here. Really just running up here into earnings. Large movement even before earnings. Never really good luck. Too much expectations. People getting that FOMO. Anything and all that stuff, like fun stuff like that. Again, this has been super extended away from a lot of the moving averages here on the daily side. Really looking for some downside support around 127. Currently, the market is trading around 134, so that's still substantially not even breaking the low that it saw today. So this is kind of like just potentially trading sideways and kind of potentially could be waiting for these moving averages to kind of catch up, because we are slightly quite a distance away from the ticks from the moving averages. So we could be seeing some consolidation, potentially trading sideways around the 135, 136 down to the 130 range for a little bit to kind of wait for these moving averages to kind of catch up. I don't know if you guys saw that I did get to be able to join the YouTube join membership. If you're interested on joining the membership, we're going to be trying to do some potentially members only live streams and kind of maybe dive into some more of the core mechanics of options trading or just trading overall, and then we can of course just go into deeper dives into the questions of folks' portfolios and things like that. That's up to AG First Magic reports earnings. Oh shoot, my damn chart. Giving the weakness in DXY and the surge of commodities, do you think it could go well with this? AG. So this is okay. Looks. The only thing is it's kind of had a little bit of a run up into earnings, like we just talked about. Like, hey, that could be a little bit of a warning sign. Kind of pump the brakes there a little bit. Kind of see how it plays out. The next really upside target is going to be basically $15. But with earnings, as you know, is a coin flip, and we're not going to be. We can't predict on how that earnings is going to go. But what the guidelines is, if it wants to go higher and start breaking higher, we're basically going to be looking for that $15 price target. To the downside, we're really going to kind of come into around the $12.69, where the parabolic SDR lineup and its previous high. To the downside, what is the options market on this sucker? They're only saying basically a dollar move, so again, it's only a $15 stock, so they can easily break above that 15, and basically downward support would kind of come into around where the 8 EMA is. So that trend still looks fairly well intact, unless we get a large deviation move and we start breaking below that 12.69, below the 21 EMA, and we can come back down to the 34 or the 8.6 percentile move there. Ryan, never buy puts on Amazon, son. Amazon is a beast, yes. It can rip your face off. A dentist shop. All right, shop. Great performer here, without a doubt. Looking at this one again, we just talked about the big C ticker, kind of a competitor. Even on that news, it still Shop was doing very well, and just continue to grind higher here. That being said, we're kind of trying to test potentially the all-time highs again here. That trend is looking strong here. We just had a squeeze that fired long here for 2 days. We saw that the previous squeeze fired long for multiple times, so we could potentially easily see this price target break. But again, we have to really see some other components of the market kind of drive it for. So this could be like a honey badger stock that I've been explained to from other investors and traders, where they're like, the honey badger stock does not care on what else is going on in the market. It wants to go higher or go lower. It's completely disconnected from the overall noise of the market. with Shopify, I think that's clearly there, and it's got a huge market in the sense of being a pandemic stock, but then also being like a new growth stock that a lot of folks are just really investing in, and the overall movement of this stock has been substantial. That being said, it's going to be very, we can do, let me go here, so it's going to be a very short-term Fibonacci retracement from the previous swing high to low, but we're really looking for around 1140 potentially for the next initial price target in the short term. For that price target to happen, we can kind of look at, let me look at the low here. So around 1200, we could see some price targets there as well on some Fibonacci retracement numbers. Since it already had earnings and the movement has already been intact there, we're really looking for some, again, it really looks like it wants to break above that previous high again. So be very mindful of that. We could be getting some selling pressure coming in. Who knows if we kind of hit this. If we could hit it, we can kind of just fizzle sideways for a little bit and then break out. So we'll, again, be super mindful of that, just to have those set in place. It looks like the 34 and 21 have been good buying opportunities in the past here, and just been some consolidation periods around those moving averages there. Yeah, the Teladoc mergers, that should be great news, but it just didn't go. I don't know why people are just think it's mergers are so difficult for me to understand sometimes. I'm like, hey, that makes sense for these two companies to merge and they're super strong now, but or not now. Whatever. So Teladoc, it really just kind of came down to the 50 percentile or the 50 EMA, or so the 50 simple moving average here on the red line here. This is basically indicating again potential support, but that being said, this is a huge red candle, and I do not want to be stepping in front of this to potentially get knocked over. This is somewhat of a falling knife here. I'm not going to begin going out and just putting in all my eggs in this basket here. There could be potential further downside. To kind of look at that, we can kind of do another fib here. Did that wrong. Maybe that is right then. That is a pretty drastic. Oh, I did the wrong. Oh, right. Come on, Ken. You're smarter than that. Is that the low? That's the low here. So it looks... Okay, this is interesting. Let me edit this real fast. Yeah, it's really hitting that 1618, which is around 201. Missed it by a buck here. Really just a super strong move, super strong downside movement in this stock. It's really looking some potential support here. If this really breaks, it's basically could free fall for a little bit, potentially maybe recovering around 190. They're seeing some previous movement over there, but really looking at the fib numbers around potentially 170. But again, I don't want to be stepping in front of this one without a doubt. Marco, eBay. Yeah, we can look at eBay. So with this one, it's really just this trend is still continuing. I think a lot of those Robinhood investors are kind of out of it now, in the sense of just kind of just trading sideways and being a little bit more patient. It is looking like it wants to start curling up again, so we can just do a very short-term Fibonacci retracement for you here, my friend. So we need to see it really break and close. So the parabolic SAR have switched. So that's the purple dots. That's great. Now we're looking for potential closing and getting above that 57.50. Then we're going to talk about 58. Then we're talking about 59.50, and then of course trying to meet that next kind of tap that previous high and then go to 63. Of course, that's the staircase up. The elevator down would basically kind of come into support around 55, and then some strong support here around the 34 EMA, which is going to be around 54, and then the parabolic kind of comes in is around 53.50 to the downside there. Wow, someone bet $3 million. Ugh. Vanilla baby. Tesla, I think Tesla's going to be potentially just trading sideways for a little bit. It's kind of like going to sit on your hands in wait mode. This pattern looks somewhat normal right now, but if we start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, we could be seeing potential downsides to the 34, even to the 50-day here, so be mindful of that. Someone said AAL. We can look at AAL. So, I think there was like some positive news about, was it TSA or something like that, was saying some higher flight numbers and things like that. But they're still, again, it's trying to break out. It really is. It really is. It's really trying hard here. I really do. I commend it to try to break out here. But we really need to see it at higher prices, around $13 to $14. This is kind of a little bit lackluster. We need to see the 5 and 8 really cross through the 21 and really see the squeeze fire higher. Again, anything can happen in this market without a doubt, but we really need to get above that 1330 level, which we previously had some issues like here and basically all through here, just some upward overhead pressure that's pretty strong here, really putting a really tight seal on this potential movement higher. But that being said, anything can be broken through, so anything is possible. So this really could start coming up here. We have seen this nice base building here. So yeah, I think it's worth a trade potentially, but it's hard for me to trade on airlines, honestly. Microsoft's going to be put down like Old Yeller. But it's crazy because I think they're trying to buy it for like 35 or 30 billion. But yeah, all we need is love. Southwest is a great company. I like it. What's the next breakout small cap stock? Jack, I don't really run scans like that, so I don't know. I would have to look at some other charts. I kind of have my main scan that I look at. Small caps get on that list, but it's not very common. Dennis says Peloton. All right, so with Peloton, it's just been climbing. It's just a lot of people have been wanting to short this. There's no signs of shorting it yet. It kind of made like a nice little reversal here, but it never broke below 21. And now it's trending higher. Potentially looking for just trading sideways, potentially around $70. Again, all-time high just a couple days ago on Monday, and see how this plays out. Potentially trying to look for 75. That's a nice little round number there. But that movement is still to the upside because we had that squeeze that fired long, and this can usually add for a couple days, at least another week potentially of upward movement to kind of see on how this plays out. We can look at NIO. So this one, again, doing the coin phrase of, it's the Chinese Tesla. So the previous swing high to low we talked about, it really needs to break above that 1420 level. It has not. It's really trying here, but we need to see that movement going higher. To the downside, support's basically going to come around 1278. Potentially some trading range between 1350 to 1450, kind of trading in this range, potentially building a base to kind of get above that $15 price target. Campbell S-Fix, is that Stitch Fix? I think I have that in my longer term portfolio. Yeah, so this one's kind of been a little bit lackluster without a doubt. Let me get this out of the way. It's really looking for some support here around the 200 EMA. Really trying to build this. This is a super strong support here previously. The only thing is the 5 and 8 have stopped bleeding lower, which is great. The 5 and 8 haven't crossed through the 21, or they have crossed through the 21, but they haven't crossed through the 200 day. So that's also a great sign to kind of sow in this consolidation period. We want to hold this and not break below or close below the 200 EMA, and potentially start breaking out between the $23 to $24 level to kind of see some particular higher prices. When start seeing the volume zone oscillator kind of start printing positive, as well as the RSI, we're seeing the momentum slightly switch over as well. JT, it's hard to tell with AMD that they can easily just take a break for 2 or 3 days and just start kicking higher again. Jack, I love you. Dyslexic, thank you. You're number one. Thank you very much. What's up with SRNE? So of course this is going to be a very much a overall pandemic virus vaccine, I believe. Of course, this is the one we did trade this one. We did trade this, I believe, here. Yes, we've traded around well below $4. Did I hold that much? No. Am I going to log into my account and see how much I could have made? Yes. Let's hang on. Oh, wrong password. Why are you doing that? Let's go activity. Oh, only 150 shares. So 150 shares. What did I sell that at? I sold. Wait a minute. That's not right. Is it SR? Oh, sorry, I've typed in the wrong one. It's SRNE. Oh, don't tell me that, Ken. I had 500 shares of this at $4.79. So basically, in this period, right before it shot out to the squeeze, and then I kind of sold it up, of course, at the 50% retracement. This movement here, and then really once it hit again, I sold out again. I don't want to do the math. I'm gonna just do the math. 500. Sorry, 479 minus let's just call it $14. That's $9.21. 9 times 500. $4,000. That would have been a nice trade, right? You win some, you lose some. I still made money in it. I could have made double. Ryan TMO is still going to the moon, eh? So is it the Thermal Fisher? Okay. Yeah, that thing that's a great looking trade there. Are you still in that? This is super strong pattern here without a doubt. Really just printing higher. This is the rocket ship, yeah. I traded the other one that you suggested. But this is a interesting one without a doubt, and yeah, no signs of potentially slowing down yet. There could be seeing some consolidation up here, but momentum's kind of slowing down, but that doesn't mean with RSI and volume zone oscillators been printing up very positively. Dennis, we didn't go over Square. So Square, as you know, had someone fat fingered the earnings, kind of came out and just basically just scared a lot of people off. A lot of surprises on that. With this one, for the short term, we're really kind of looking for some potential consolidation potentially around 142 to 150, and kind of bounce around here for a little bit to kind of start consolidating potentially and to kind of get that move higher. Because we did have a pretty large gap up. I think people are kind of sour about it, honestly, too, that this happened, and they feel neglected, not loved, or whatever the word is. And I think they're a little sour about it, which, again, things happen. I was lucky enough to have some calls in it, and it printed very well for me this morning, but really looking for that potentially support here, around 147 to the downside, but looking for 140. Potentially next upside target would be around 170 for Square. I was clutching all day watching my UVXY calls. You bought UAV, basically VIX calls. You want to look at some McDonald's, the Big Mac. So McDonald's, same thing here. We had earnings, kind of came down here, held the 21, the 200 kind of gave some emotional support here. Made a bounce here. Now it's trying to get that momentum to kind of break above that $200 price target. It really needs a lot of momentum to break through that. That being said, it really needs that to potentially, because we see a 1, 2, 3 tap here, and kind of that overall pressure on the $200 price target, we could easily break through, but we need, again, that volume zone oscillator and RSI to print us higher. Same with momentum. Ryan Allstate. So this one, I kind of had like a trading box on this one, but it kind of broke below the box. But once it broke out of the box, it kind of just started getting back into the box because it didn't like the weather out there. So it's basically, I'm just going to extend the box over here, Ryan, and potentially pretend this didn't happen here. Just like, didn't happen. It's okay, dude. Just wipe that and put that underneath the rug. Really just kind of really failing here. Try to break above that 200 EMA, which is basically the $100 strike price, or the $100 price target. Really looking for that movement to try to get above that. Seeing some selling off it today. It's looking super choppy again. That's why it's in the box here. Really need to start seeing it above the 100 to 102 and really break out and stay out of it. Because again, it's broken out multiple times here out of this box, but it's just wants to come back inside the house. Blue's thoughts on Disney? Yes, Disney. Great. Love it. So Disney, long-term shareholder in Disney, if you don't already know, really had a monster quarter, even though a lot of its revenue streams were down, but the overall increase of subscriptions to other various services and the really just the expansion of Disney Plus and the constant growing repertoire of what that is, it's really just pushing the stock substantially higher. I think if it didn't have that Disney Plus, this stock would be well below the $100 price target, probably around 75. That being said, it's not, so we have a positive spin on it. So the 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21. We are looking to try to stay above the 125 price target here. For the 125 price target, we're really looking to kind of see this trade sideways, potentially to build this base. Again, we're talking about Disney. We're not talking about a Tesla, Apple, or NVIDIA. Yes, they do have a technology component, but that being said, we need to see this potentially consolidate here, and we've seen this previous movement up to 125, but then kind of just stalled out, and then nothing really happened. So that's something we don't want to repeat if you're going to be long the Disney or the mouse, as they call it. Potentially consolidating here, gaining the strength again, because RSI and volume zone oscillator have worked a lot. And we're really seeing a lot of volume coming in here, which is a great sign to potentially see that 137 price target to really to come to fruition. You buying shares of Chegg? No, I have options in Chegg. What do you think about PLNTH? Makeshift player. I don't know what that is. Is that Planet Fitness? What is that? PLNTH. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Greg B, what's up, my friend? Thanks for joining, my friend. Ken, can you take a look at net? Yeah, net. So net, I'm afraid this is going to be coming out with earnings tomorrow, looks like, after the close. Be super mindful. A lot of this has kind of had a movement into earnings. A lot of its brother and then sisters in its cohort have been kind of slapped across the face and kind of brought down slightly. Looking for, again, what's the move for this week? Oh, they don't have weekly options. Darn it. I don't like when they do that. Potentially downside support around, what's this, a $42, $43 stock. Basically, probably like a $3 to $4 move. What are they saying for the whole month? Yeah, so $6 for the $27. So maybe it's like a $3 move plus or minus potentially here in the market. So $3 would basically kind of put it down like $40. But again, that's still going to be within the trend that we're currently seeing between the 5 and 8, and really looking for that movement to potentially bring it up to 44.75 there to kind of see that movement continue going higher there. But again, we just shot out a squeeze. Everything looks strong, but I can't. If there wasn't earnings there, I could be a little bit more confident, give you the probability of having the higher chance of it hitting the $44.75. But that being said, that earnings really throws a wrench into this race. I don't know what Planet 13 is. This is only 8 planets in our solar system. This is a make-believe planet. Let's see here. Tech bubble. Again, like we talked about in the beginning of the thing, Ryan, of like, hey, let's just ground everyone here within the overall market. So SPY, we can kind of do a quick little thing here on the 20. Again, goes back 20 years here, and we're seeing here trying to knock on the doors on all-time highs. Potentially, we can see that happening with the short to intermediate term. Are we going to be flying through all-time highs? I don't think so. We could potentially tap it and potentially make a small comeback, so a little bit of correction, and see how that plays out. But as of right now, we're looking on the projection to hit the all-time, potentially tap the all-time high there. Thank you guys for everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate it. If you're not already, go ahead and join the Discord. It's completely free. We discuss a lot of nonsense stuff in there, and then we talk about some charts. Oh, it's a weed stock? Oh. I don't dabble in the weed stocks. Clorox is going to clean up all the way to the bank. Yes, so Clorox is something that I shared with the folks on Patreon and, of course, the folks on the YouTube membership to kind of show the members-only stuff within those two communities. Some potential trade ideas that I'm looking at. So with Clorox, we're really seeing that truly trend continue. It did get kind of wiped around here on its current earnings, but it was still, this trend is still upticking here. Again, hit that 21, great buying opportunity. Now it's hitting all-time high just today. So that being said, this really looking for the onward movement to around the 246 price target. That being said, downward support is going to be the 21 EMA, basically around $228. Ken doesn't dabble with weed stocks. I can't. I have security clearance, Ryan. I can't be doing that stuff. Greetings, guy. Do Costco. Yes, my man. Costco. Costco, of course, one of my favorite stores to go to, and just a lot of fun to do some treasure hunting there. This thing has been really doing very well. So the previous swing high to low really had some capitulation basically around the 306 price target. Even after earnings, then starts breaking out here, really not giving a rat's around the 315 price target, then coming up to its previous high, kind of knocking on the door, not having the momentum to go to the next upward channel. Then it kind of did with had some great same store sales numbers, really broke up to that 338 price target, and now looking potentially to trade sideways a little bit to kind of get to that 355 price target. So be mindful of that. To the downside, you're really basically going to be looking the opposite direction. Downside support where the 21 basically lies is the 325 price target there. Yeah, guys, thank you. Well, thank you for joining. I really want to make a really cool, fun community where it doesn't feel like folks are just you have to what's the scenario I just we're trying to make things feel a little bit more legit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel like the typical I'm the stock guru guy. No, that's not me. Ken, what's your job? Do you have any career advice? What's my job? I do. I'm a lead sysadmin and IT manager. So I just deal with fixing servers, computers, and networking stuff, and just fixing anything that really comes our way. Oh, Planet 13. It's a let's see here. What are you trying to get into, Makeshift? PLNHW. So, Planet 13 Holdings. Oh, this is like a penny stock, guys. This is the weed stock. Oh, Makeshift, thanks for the $2, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, is this the one chart? I saw someone talk about this on YouTube. I saw it kind of come up. Basically, this is kind of the premise of trying to make like a luxury weed distillery, right? Am I thinking it wrong? Thinking it right? It's not weed? What do you mean no? Oh, they're expanding. Okay. So I need to buy in now to get in that expansion stuff. It's just been a super, just trading sideways stock. Could it go to $10? Probably, maybe, if things go, that the FOMO really kicks in. On the weekly side, it looks like it wants to try to go higher, but this is a little bit too risky, and I'm not quite sure if I'm allowed to touch this. Oh, it plans to expand to other states. It's like a weed club. Oh. Trying to get into the financial field. So I'll give you story time makeshift, and anyone else can listen. So of course, my love for financing has been forever, in the sense of just wanting to get in the market. So my initial story was my inception of the stock market, or when it penetrated my skull, was basically, it doesn't even go back this far, I forgot. I don't think it goes back 30 years, does it? I don't even know. Max availability. Okay, there we go. Basically, buying, I remember, this is crazy, having to call up the broker on the telephone to tell him, hey, I wasn't even 18. My dad had opened the account of like, hey, I want to buy Apple stock. And, sorry, I went back the wrong time frame. Sorry. This is around this time frame here. Because I wanted the Apple computer. And I bought it, I think it was, I always follow the stocks and things like that because I would literally watch financial news as a little kid. Just be FYI. This is a weird connection there. Buying it basically, I think it was like a sophomore in high school. So it was like 04, 05. I had my father open up a brokerage account under his name, and I just would make orders on his. And this back in the day where you still had to kind of call up. It's a little bit old-fashioned. The internet thing was there without a doubt, but it wasn't as mainstream as it just open up your iPhone and start making orders. But that was basically it came through just like, hey, talking to a broker like, hey, I like to buy 10 apples at like $20. So it was quite astonishing to kind of see that play out. And of course, with that story time, basically, I wanted to get in the financial markets. I wanted to become a certified financial planner, but there was other roles for me to get into that, and just didn't work out. I'm not a very salesy kind of person, makeshift, so that salesy stuff didn't really translate over very well, and I didn't do very well on selling things, but I knew the stuff inside and out, which they cared more about sales than they did about the knowledge behind it, but that's whatever. So I never really got into financial stuff, and then I just went to graduate school to study business / basically it was kind of an MBA. And then basically after that, a buddy of mine just offered me a job to do IT because he knew I knew my stuff inside and out with computers and stuff like that. So bada bing, bada bang. That was a horrible. I don't know why I went into that story. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's go look at some charts here. Oh, John, thank you for the $3. I just saw that. Thank you, my friend. Thumbs up to you, my friend. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Plato VWM. Is that Volkswagen? Oh, let's get this out of the way. This is too much here. VMW? Oh, VMware. Speaking, this is, oh yeah, I know. Okay. VMware I know very well. So this is the company that Dell is supposed to be buying, right? Right? Or Dell is partnering with them or something like that. Play-Doh. Correct me if I'm wrong, or one's buying the other. So the previous swing high to low, the Fibonacci retracement, we're really looking some consolidation where the 200 EMA is. We're showing a lot of support around the 139, 140 range. Potentially, this is going to be your short-term support here. So we'll see in how this plays out. Really looking for that support here. That parabolic SAR is really kind of pushing it down, and the stock's really looking like it wants to kind of push higher. We are seeing some movement between the 5 and 8, kind of crossing through the 21. If this can get some momentum, it's not in a squeeze, so that could. I'm not saying it can't get up to 154, 155 in the short to intermediate term, but we've got up there multiple times before and kind of failed. We do have earnings on the horizon on the 20th, so potentially just kind of kangarooing or jumping around in between the 155 to 140 into earnings. I just hope that we just don't run completely into earnings and just go straight up, and then earnings come out, even has great numbers, and then it kind of just drops. That being said, just be mindful on how this plays out. We're really looking for, again, this is kind of like a great trading setup right here. If you want to play into earnings, what you're betting on is it to continue to go up here, potentially start getting up to the 155, but if it starts before earnings trade, if it starts failing below that to around 140, you want to get out. So that's basically your risk to reward. You're risking $2 or $3 to potentially make $10. That's how the overall markets kind of look at it, the portfolio managers. How do I feel about airlines plays, Dyson's, Shores? It's a tough one. That's a Jets. So we can look at just the ETF of Jets. It's the ETF that basically just tracks all the airlines. Again, we're really looking to break to that $17 price target. Really want to see that parabolic SAR come from the top to the bottom and see that upward momentum continue there. Derek says 6. Is that 6 flags? Ooh, that's not a fun looking thing. That is a downward looking chart if I've ever seen it. It's a hard one to trade this one there. What was this? Derek C. Thanks for joining, my friend. Yeah, this is going to be, if you could maybe try to nibble here, but this is going to be a tough one to look at without a doubt. This is going to be a very super, it's going to take a lot of work to get back up to that 200 EMA because even before the pandemic, look, it was having issues prior as well, not performing very well. Even here, hitting the 200 EMA and just kind of coming down from there. Oh, Wix. Oh, I thought you said 6. So this is like the Squarespace, build your website. They'll kind of help you kind of do that scenario. Of course, that is just going through the roof due to the fact of everyone just doing online various activities. That being said, we're seeing that movement again, really holding that 21 EMA here fairly well to the upside. Looks like it has earnings before market tomorrow morning. So that's going to be definitely a coin toss. Again, with earnings, as you probably know, we have to kind of play out potentially a coin toss and see how it plays out. The move looks like it's a $300+ stock. The move is, they don't have weekly options as well. So it's kind of going to be the super most liquid stock. But again, to the downside support, we're basically going to be looking where anywhere from 280 to around 270 within that price range to the downside. To the upside, I can kind of give you a quick fig there. Let's do that to snap that guy. Nope. All right, there. All right, there we go. To the upside, we're potentially looking for 326. And then again, we kind of hit a no man's land, and the next is going to be around 380. It's sort of 368 there. How about Snap Blue says? So Snap, a lot of these, this kind of been lackluster here. We did see, again, earnings report went down. The bleeding slightly continued, broke through the 50-day, which is never a good sign, especially for a pretty volatile tech-heavy stock. Again, really the 5 and 8 really just driving it lower. The 5 and 8 are the moving averages here. The 5 is white, and the pink is the 8. Basically just kind of dragging it down. We're seeing a potential kind of a bottom formation here, but we need to start seeing that that kind of stop the bleeding and potentially start going higher to around 22.79 to see that movement to potentially go from there. Again, we're seeing that slow switch of the movement down there from red to yellow. RSI is flat, but volumes on oscillator needs to start picking up to kind of see that potentially go higher. If this one's to continue to bleed lower, we're going to be looking into prices around $20 there. Richard, yes, this is live, yes. Let's see here. Okay, now chat's flying today, boys. Okay, girls, let's see here. Devin, what do you think about JP Morgan? It looks like a bouncing off the trend line. Yeah, we take a looky-loo at JP Morgan. So we're currently looking again here from previous swing high to low. We're really kind of just trapped in a trading range here. So the trading range basically is from the 101 down to 92. And just kind of waiting for it to kind of play out, because we've seen here, we've kind of had this huge movement higher, really just kind of was a little bit too optimistic and kind of came crashing down here a little bit, and then now trapped in that range basically between that 101 to 92 and just kind of bouncing around in this range. Of course, if we want it to go higher, we want it to start breaking above the 101. If we want it to go lower, it needs to start breaking below 92 there. Let's see here. Is Discover still a good buy? I'm not sure. What is Discover's ticker symbol there, Makeshift? Bobby, thank you for joining. Taylor, SCI, CVS, funeral stocks. Wow. Industry's down anytime soon. That's some satire there. That's some SCI. Are these like, I don't even know how the funeral business honestly works. Service Corp. So they just buy a bunch of like mom and pop funeral homes or something, and they just kind of like create a franchise out of it. So this one is basically hitting the 618, so around $40.62. That is the SCI. Again, looks like it had a strong quarter, really pumping higher, a lot of volume coming in. RSI and volume oscillator looking very positive here. Potentially, if it starts breaking below 45, we could be potential downside support is going to be coming in around 43 and then 41. To the upside, we're really looking for 48 and then that previous high to 52 there, my friend. DFS, thank you. So this looks somewhat similar like JP Morgan. I'm going to see what kind of range it is on here on the fibs here. Yes, very much similar between the 50% retracement and the 38.2. Again, still below the 200-day as well, and it's kind of bouncing around here. It isn't a squeeze. It did have an earnings. It didn't go crazy lower or higher. Just some consolidation here, potentially kind of waiting to see how this plays out. The parabolic SAR below it, so that trend is somewhat strong here. We'll see on how this potentially could get that momentum with the squeeze to fire higher to get above that 54.69, potentially and try that 200 EMA there. Michael, thank you for joining me. Can you make a video on Fibonacci's and how to get it? Also, can you do FSLY? So I don't know what you mean by getting it. It's normally like a standard thing on a lot of trading platforms. Since I use Tastyworks, Thinkorswim for my charting, that's basically one of the key components. You just right click and you hit the add a drawing, and bada bing, bada boom, Fibonacci retracement's right there, and then Fibonacci extension. There's some other various different Fibonacci lines there as well to kind of help you engage and just make some more fun stuff there. And then we can look at FSLY as well. Yeah, we can cover that for you. So FSLY again, not having the world's greatest quarter. Again, it had a strong quarter. I didn't read through all the financial stuff, but I think it just ran up too much into earnings. And we'll see how it plays out tomorrow. Currently looking at $93. So $93 kind of falls into that previous swing high to low 618, basically at $92.36. Looking for this initial support to hold. Level 2 support, Michael, is going to be basically coming to around 89.09. For that kind of falls in where the 21 is. This is a pretty large drop. It's still, I think it's within the expected move or one standard deviation, so it's not a crazy move where a few people are going to be running off with their heads cut off. But if this can hold and bounce, potentially you can get some movement to like 97 and potentially 102.95 in the short to near term. Guy, what's your opinion on SPG? So this one's a difficult one. This is the REIT that does the shopping malls, right? And this thing has just been beat. Yeah, this one has just definitely been beat up. The fibs don't even really touch it. We do have earnings coming out the 10th. I don't know how those are going to go. Again, coin flip. We are sitting in a squeeze here, but nothing is. It's just building a base here. It really needs a potential vaccine and just the pandemic to be over. But I think the damage is somewhat already there. If this is the shopping mall company, there's so many mom and pop shops that have just going out. Large companies like Brooks Bros filing for bankruptcy. What's the other one that I just saw? Macy's is probably going to go under. Lord & Taylor I saw. What else did I see? California Pizza Kitchen. Come on, man. It went under. It's like, come on. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Thoughts on Square? Oh, I think it's a good idea, Makeshift. I'll look at getting a video out for more learning stuff, without a doubt. And maybe post that more on Patreon or the YouTube membership tab for the folks that want to join that, to kind of maybe give them extra, like, because I just feel like there's just so many other videos out there that already kind of go over these things, but I guess maybe it's just a little bit different the way I do things. Let's do Square. So Square, of course, someone fat fingered the earnings. Popped higher, looking for that initial support to kind of come around 147. If it doesn't, it wants to start breaking lower, we're looking for some support around 140. Potentially kind of want it to hold around above 147 to the upside, potentially consolidate or start trending higher to kind of see how that movement goes out there. Guys, on that note, I've been streaming for about an hour and 41 minutes right now. The voice is really giving out. My eyes are getting tired. I do have some projects I need to take care of in the morning. Hopefully everyone had a great time this evening. Thank you everyone for joining. We're definitely going to be doing another live stream on Sunday. Potentially maybe do one on Friday evening for some other the folks to kind of get that, allow folks to participate on different time frames, different time zones as well. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining the channel membership that's on the join button, I would greatly appreciate that, of course, as well as the Discord. We have a lot of fun stuff that goes over at the Discord. We can see on how that plays out. The sense of trying to add new features over the Discord. I did a little oopsies this morning. I added the CNBC Twitter, and it was just it just went crazy. I added the Wall Street Bets Reddit auto notification, and it just was a bunch of trash. But you live and you learn, right? All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. Have a safe night. Peace. Oh, Johnny, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the $5. I was just literally able to hit the end button. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Later, guys.